This is the Cockpit, as I like to call it. I've had this for 20 years now. It's been many different disguises. First time I did it, it was built inside a wardrobe with the door taken off, with a beanbag as a chair. So I've got a sound chair here, steering wheel, laptop that powers it all is here, sitting on top of a PS4, very nice. And then the pedals down here, which are off the ground. I'll explain why they're off the ground in a minute. So there is one tube which runs across, which is that one there, which has an adjustment on it to move the pedals forward or back. Because if someone tall gets in, they obviously need to move the pedals further away. And then the steering wheel obviously sits on top of another one there, which has got like a plate underneath it just there, so you need to be able to attach it to that. The two plates they're on have holes in as well, so you can like sort of screw them in or just clamp them depending on which sort of wheel that you get. So obviously you can then move the steering wheel back and forth and sort of tilt it that way should you need to. Okay, and then I have to sort of climb in. You need something so you can sort of get into it properly, and it will be better if it had some form of surround going on here. The bonus with the actual sound chair is that you get proper surround sound, beastie sound off it, which is awesome. It is a bit of a cables nightmare, that's the only problem. You can obviously run it from a big TV screen here like that, or as I like to do with VR. So getting in, I have to step up on a piece of wood, stand in it, and then as you would do on a normal racing car, you sort of slide into the seat like this, which is lovely. And then obviously pedals sort of the right distance from my feet, steering wheel sort of the right distance, and needs to be the right height so that your eyes are just over the top. So again, some form of adjustment to be able to move that, to be honest. If someone smaller or taller gets in, the tall bit is obviously just me to move the pedals away. If someone short gets in, just a nice cushion behind them normally fixes that problem. Normally I'm the only person that gets in this, so it fits me fine. The reason it's tilted up at the front is that the steering wheel is now flat to me. Okay, so a lot of the steering wheel setups that you have, these sort of pre-made frames that you can buy, the steering wheel's a little bit like this, like you're driving a bus. We're not driving buses, are we? Okay, so it should be, all racing cars, the steering wheel will be flat to you, so it's tilted upwards to give it that. And it also means I'm sat more in a sort of racing driver's position with the feet up off the ground, which makes it a lot more realistic. The frame I've got has a one piece coming up that you attach the steering wheel to. That isn't perfect. If you buy a decent steering wheel, the torque that they have will let it rock and move around, which is pretty rubbish when you don't want it doing that. So I've reinforced this. It's got an extra bit on the side to sort of keep it still. So some of the better ones come up with one bit either side and go across, so you can then attach the steering wheel to it. They are better, but again, you still need to be able to sort of adjust it, and in terms of how much pitch it's got that way. You also need, whenever you're in, I've got my mouse and keyboard over on the right hand side here. So mouse on that side, keyboard on this side. So you need to be able to adjust what you're doing. You can't have it sort of floating off somewhere else. And if you're going to build it like maybe a Formula style car with a sort of proper cockpit coming around it, you'd still need to be able to access whether that's underneath something, or if you build like a GT style car, it could be more open like this, just be able to access a keyboard and a mouse as you are playing. The bonus of having the Recaro seat is that the sound comes through the actual seat itself. So I've got speakers in the side, so I get perfect surround sound. It's loud. I've also got a big subwoofer where my kidneys are. So if I go over a curb or I get something wrong or something, my kidneys get a bit of a battering, which is actually quite cool. So that works all pretty well. Having it with the big screen is awesome and sort of graphically better, although what you really want to be doing is playing in VR. So just to show from the sort of driving position, I've got the sort of main strut here which holds the steering wheel on, which obviously I can move it up or down to move it higher, and then there's a sort of attachment down at the bottom that allows me to slide it back and forth, pedals obviously up there. And then to sort of reinforce it, I've got an extra bit on the side here which goes across. It's like a circular metal loop to keep it more rigid, and on the top of that I've got my mouse and keyboard, which keeps it all much more still. Otherwise this sort of rocks around when I'm driving okay, with the force of the steering wheel, which just makes it rubbish. So that sort of keeps it a lot more still. So obviously the best way to play this is in VR. And if you've got the right sort of setup with the sort of position of the steering wheel and the pedals and the right sort of seating position, the surround sound, VR, this is just amazing. So if I just jump straight in, okay, and I've got traction control off, let me get my excuses in straight away. So I can see the steering wheel, I can look around, see my mirrors, I can see my competitors, and I can get racing. Not a good start. The mirrors are working, which is ace, and then you get a real great perception of depth. It's just the paint, it's fine. Or you can have your Formula style car, so again, in the cockpit, which is just awesome. See cars behind me and everything. Watching my lights. There'll be a crash. Geek City, isn't it? It's just like an absolute full-on nerd, which is quite accurate, really. And always got better than the size.